the business we are in at LSU, providing a world-class experience for our student athletes to compete and earn their degrees.
Hello, Tiger fans. I'm Emily Dixon, and you're watching Inside LSU Sports, presented by Community Coffee. On this week's show, we have you covered with everything you need to know about the number 5 ranked LSU gymnastics team, which stayed put in the rankings after posting the highest road score of the season. So let's get things rolling with LSU Gymnastics head coach Jay Clark and Mike Smith as they recap the top 5 matchup against Florida and look ahead to a jam-packed weekend, which will see the Tigers compete against 3 SEC teams across 2 different venues.
Inside LSU Sports, presented by Community Coffee, is brought to you each week by the 8 partners that represent Team LSU. Cox, the official communications provider of LSU Athletics. McDonald's, official sponsor of the LSU Tigers. Our Lady of the Lake, official healthcare provider of LSU Athletics. Planet Fitness, official gym partner of the LSU Tigers. Rouse's Markets, official supermarket of LSU Athletics. Hancock Whitney, the official bank of the LSU Tigers. People's Health, the official health plan of LSU Athletics. And by Coca-Cola, official beverage partner of the LSU Tigers. This segment of Inside LSU Sports is brought to you each week by Bud Light.
Hello, Tiger fans, and once again, welcome Inside LSU Sports, presented by Community Coffee. Again, from the beautiful LSU Gymnastics Training Center on the floor. So much to talk about today. The Tigers with an enormous Southeastern Conference meet over in the O-Dome in Gainesville against the Florida Gators. And we're going to dive right into the action with LSU head coach Jay Clark. Jay, it's always great to go on the road in the conference, especially against the Gators. 2 programs, the Tigers and the Gators, that are just right there, you know, trading blow for blow on Friday night. First of all, your thought overall on the meet, especially the way you got started in the first half.
Well, I think overall it was it was a good performance. We felt good about the fight that the kids show. You're always disappointed when you lose, so you can't dismiss that. But there are good losses and then there's bad losses. All losses are bad to some degree, but this one was one that I felt like we came out with a lot of good and a lot of positive things that occurred for us, and felt like the kids were ready. They were in a good headspace. They showed up right out of the gate and really pushed and leaned on Florida in a way that Florida had not been pushed yet so far, so that's gonna pay dividends for us down the road as we get further down the line and into postseason. I think you're going to see that experience is going to do something. You know, and talk about experience, Jay, right off the bat on the uneven bars, you had talked about landings, but not necessarily trying to seek a landing, but just letting it happen. Yeah. And it really looked like that the team bought into that concept. Yeah, you got to be careful when you start talking stick all the time, you know, which is what everybody knows and everybody looks for. It's a psychological thing, you know. What the most important thing you want on any dismount to be, whether it's on bars or beam, floor, or the direction of a vault, is the direction that you take it. Getting your direction off the apparatus so that you can land up and down makes it more likely that you stick. We try to stay away from the word stick. We talk about direction. We talk about land with your chest up or body positions as you land. But if you get hyper-focused on stick, you tend to get small. You tend to freeze things. You tend to drop your chest and not do the things that you need to do in order to create a great landing. I thought Kai Rivers, as a matter of fact, with the 9.825 score, that was one that I really thought helped set that table for you to begin running up to the 9.95s from Haley Bryan, and of course a big finishing score from Sammy Durante, but a great body of work right off the bat. Yeah, I thought Kaya and Kai started us off really, really well. I didn't completely understand the 9.825s in both cases, but nonetheless, you get in. We talk about it all the time. Control your controllables and not get hung up on what the judges are doing. So we move on from it, and Liv got us going after that, and then Haley doing what she did. So we really kind of caught fire there in the back half. 49.425 to get started there on the uneven bars. You flip it over to vaulting. Of course, the
The Gators have a big crowd, just like you would expect, and you know, you seem like you really seized on that momentum, and it looked like to me that the team was feeding off of the atmosphere and not at all intimidated by the atmosphere.
Yeah, I can usually tell where the team is by what's going on inside my gut. Like, if I'm churning and nervous, then I'm usually not comfortable with where they are. And I can tell you, Mike, from the jump in this meet, I was in a really calm space. I was not. I wasn't concerned at all. Even when we saw, you know, if you saw a performance that was a little bit off or anything, it just felt like they were where they needed to be mentally. And so it's a good reassuring place to be as a coach. And we fed off that energy. It's something we talk about doing. We don't always do it, you know, and sometimes you feed off an energy too much, or you give too much credit when there's not those kind of crowds in certain spaces. But I thought our team was really where they needed to be mentally from their approach to a sold-out O-Dome.
Well, and look, real quick, you've got a senior in Sarah Edwards, was looking for that vault all season. Yeah. She finally achieved what she was looking for. So you've got a super senior there, and you've got a freshman for the first time competing in a sold-out arena in KJ Johnson. Neither one of them missed a beat.
They didn't, and Sarah was not in the lineup. Sarah was questionable. We were not able to train her much this week with her lower leg injury that continues to plague her. And we were going to get there and run her up and down the runway and see what she can do. She asked to warm up, and when she did, you could see the look in her eye like it was Florida and she was not going to be denied. And so she pushed her way into that lineup based on what happened in warm-ups, but quite honestly. And Alona's leg had been bothering her, so it was going to be one or the other that we either had in or had out. And when Sarah warmed up the way she did and then competed the way she did, you understand why she's the senior she is. But I'll tell you this, Mike, that kid was coming from a I want to mentality. And I've been talking a lot to our team lately about the difference between want to and have to, or get to and got to. They're very subtle in terms of they both want to compete. They're both driven to get in there. But one is more free, one is fearless, and the other is more tight and afraid that if they don't do something right, that they're not going to get to compete. And I've been talking to them about that. And case in point, Sarah Edwards doing what she did, she had a look in her eye that was, I want to, not I got to. I want it, coach, give it to me, and I'll do it. And she went out there and knocked it out of the park. And KJ continues to do what KJ does. She's doing KJ things. And we said we were going to leave her in 2 events for a while just to grow her confidence, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it in her demeanor, her countenance, everything. She's getting more and more comfortable with this whole college thing and what it feels like. And I think down the line, you're going to see her in more events. Whether that's this year or next, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the all-around at some point.
Elena Arenas and, of course, Kaya Johnson with 2 outstanding vaults get you to 49.475, and you're at 98.9. It's a 1/10 meet. Boy, you better hold on to your chairs because the second half is coming down to the wire right after this quick timeout inside LSU Sports.
You need more layers, diagonal layers.
I got it, Ron. Thanks.
Leave him alone, Dad. Oh, honey, you should use ice blocks instead of cubes.
No, Bud Light Seltzer goes on top.
Diagonal layers.
Did you pre-chill the Bud Light lemonades?
Need more ice.
And diagonal layers.
I mean, if you're gonna do it right.
I don't need my hands getting cold.
Why don't you try using the Plumsky method?
Brings out the citrus notes.
Dad?
Gotta crush the ice, son.
Okay, I'm out.
What's his problem?
Whenever packing the cooler really matters, there's a Bud Light there.
Mommy, guess what? We're rich.
Ay, that's fake, mi amor. Ice cream?
Yeah!
Okay.
Protect your connected devices with advanced security included with Cox Panoramic Wi-Fi.
We get it. It feels like everything has changed. Masking up, changing demands at work, fewer gatherings. But one thing hasn't changed. Our commitment to your health. It's why Our Lady of the Lake Physician Group keeps finding better ways to serve you. Video visits with one of our providers, online scheduling, weekend hours, and nearly 100 locations where providers know your medical history. Our Lady of the Lake Physician Group, providing you with the best care where and when you need it.
As humankind faces its most critical challenges yet, The world demands leaders, and LSU is taking up the charge. The research we do here goes everywhere to protect communities threatened by climate change, so you can live your life with fewer worries about tomorrow. We're formulating a better way for everyone, because at LSU, our calling is humanity.
LSU Tigers fans, show your pride with real Tigers gear from the official online store, lsushop.net. You'll find everything a Tigers fan needs, including jerseys, sideline gear, polos, t-shirts, hats, and more. With an awesome selection of over 4,100 products, including official team merchandise from Nike, when it comes to Tigers pride, there's only one place real Tigers fans go, lsushop.net.
This segment of Inside LSU Sports is brought to you each week by Assurance Financial. When you find the home you want to buy, choose a mortgage lender that can help you buy it. David Alello with Assurance Financial, lending the way home buyers prefer it.
Welcome back Inside LSU Sports from the LSU Gymnastics Training Center. We're talking Tigers and Gators from the O-Dome on Friday night. It literally came down, Jay, to the last few in both of the rotations. And, you know, I thought that the Tigers really set it up with a 1/10 difference at the halfway point. When you guys go over to the floor exercise and you start out like you did, you're thinking, you really better hold on to your chair.
Well, yeah, Desiderio did what we've come to expect out of her, starting us off with a 9-9. And when you can start any rotation off with that level of score, usually good things are going to happen for you. And then, you know, we get further into it, and I think Aaliyah went 9-9 and KJ went 9-9-5, and you fully expect that those final two are going to put the nail in the coffin. And it's really not fair to them in some ways to expect them to be able to do that every single time. And it's not that they did poorly, but they didn't do what we had grown accustomed to seeing. And so we a little bit of a missed opportunity, because I felt like we could have come out of floor. You know, we went into floor down 1/10. I felt like we had the opportunity to come out of floor up 2 or 3 tenths, and that potentially that could have changed the outcome of the meet. But overall, still very proud. I mean, it was our second road meet. That was our, you know, you get on other people's equipment, and sometimes early in the season, things don't feel the same, and it takes a while to get through that adjustment phase. So that's not an excuse. It's just it's a fact of our sport that the equipment feels different everywhere you go. And until you get 3 or 4 of those under your belt, you don't really, you've got to go through that adjustment period. They made the mistakes that were made, we saw in warm-ups. So they weren't you know, complete surprises. They just were, there were things that we've got to get better at making adjustments.
You know, Jay, you mentioned the fact that you know, you maybe have grown accustomed to something a little bit more out of Kaya and Haley there on floor, but I think a 49-4-5 road score on floor in an SEC meet, I think it just speaks to the level of excellence that this lineup and this team has in front of it.
There's no doubt. And if you'd have told me going in what our scores were going to be, would I have taken that? Yeah, you know, I mean, that's a great score, you know, and would I have thought, you know, being tied or maybe a little head was where we wanted to be going into the final rotation with a shot to win? Absolutely. so as much as it's easy to come back behind it and pick it apart, going into it, everybody would have been happy with knowing what that outcome was.
And then you go over to balance beam. You've got to settle yourselves. Obviously, Florida's now moved over to floor. The building gets raucous at that point. You've got to dial in, you know, your own headspace, as you like to say. 3 9-8-7-5s. The Tigers were dialed in.
Oh, there's no doubt. We started out very, very strong. I thought, you know, in a couple of cases that those scores could have gone up. Judge 2 was a little bit low consistently, so you know, you can't always control that. But I thought that they were worthy of 9-9s. At the end of the day, again, I don't know that makes a difference in the outcome, but I was very pleased with the performance that our kids showed when they got up there, and when we got in a little bit of a hole with Sammy coming off and had to put Kai in there at the last minute for Haley. Man, you know, you can't really ask for much more than that. You talk about being prepared when your number is called. That's what Kai Rivers did.
And I'm glad you brought up Kai Rivers, because I wanted to touch on Kai, and I also wanted to touch on Bridget Dean, her last performance in her home state of Florida, and she absolutely knocked it out of the park. And how great that she was able to do it after having a miscue in the PMAC the week before. she completely shook it off. And actually, that is what I thought at that point in time. The Tigers were poised to really make a run at the W.
And Bridget's a special kid. I mean, you know, she made that mistake in the PMAC last week, and a little bit of that, we call that ghosting around here. I think she was, you know, because it had happened in the first meet, she kind of was carrying it around with her. And if you let your head get away from you, let your thoughts get control of you in the middle of a routine, sometimes those can happen. But to be able to come back in a packed spot in the O-Dome with a sold-out place with that level of that kind of environment, that's what Bridget Dean's all about. That's what we've grown accustomed to seeing from her. And, you know, she's a 9.9 or 9.9 or better virtually every time she gets on that piece of equipment.
Season high road score for the Fighting Tigers, just a hair underneath 198. I know you had to be pleased overall, Jay, with that body of work.
Yeah, when we huddled them up at the end, I said, look, we're all disappointed. I want you to be disappointed. You should always be disappointed when you come up short of what you would like to accomplish. However, be proud of the fight. Be proud of the way that you competed, because you competed with tenacity. You competed till the end. Even when we had little things here and there that were uncharacteristic, you didn't quit going. And a lot of times teams can let that stuff snowball on them. And we didn't do that. And we dealt with some adversity in that meet and really competed hard. And I really believe that that's a mark of a team that's mature. It's the mark of a team that's growing in their maturity. And I think, you know, those kinds of experiences really sharpen you as you get down the line into postseason. I think it will benefit us greatly by the end.
Gonna need to be sharp. The Tigers have some big meets in the SEC coming up, and right after this quick timeout, hey, let's talk about those. What do you say? Right after this, Inside LSU Sports.
It's Ford Truck Month. Get after it in Ford F-150. With the best available towing in its class, an available tailgate work surface to get the party started, and available Pro Power on board to keep it going strong. Get our best offers on Ford F-150. Get to Ford Truck Month. Get 0 for 66 and 500 bonus cash plus an additional 2,000 retail order bonus cash on Ford F-150. Only at your Southern Quality Ford dealer.
Now is the time for new beginnings. For holding each other's hands. For encouraging each other, and for working together. At Women's, our mission is to improve the health of all women and infants. So today, we're focused on new ways to care for you and keep you safe. Because seeing you healthy and strong is important to us.
You need more layers, diagonal layers.
I got it, Ron. Thanks.
Leave him alone, Dad. Oh, honey, you should use ice blocks instead of cubes.
No, Bud Light Seltzer goes on top.
Diagonal layers.
Did you pre-chill the Bud Light lemonades?
Need more ice.
And diagonal layers.
I mean, if you're gonna do it right.
I don't need my hands getting cold.
Why don't you try using the Plumsky method?
Brings out the citrus notes.
Dad?
Gotta crush the ice, son.
Okay, I'm out.
What's his problem?
Whenever packing the cooler really matters, there's a Bud Light there.
As humankind faces its most critical challenges yet, the world demands leaders, and LSU is taking up the charge. The research we do here goes everywhere to protect communities threatened by climate change, so you can live your life with fewer worries about tomorrow. We're formulating a better way for everyone, because at LSU, our calling is humanity.
LSU Tigers fans, show your pride with real Tigers gear from the official online store, lsushop.net. You'll find everything a Tigers fan needs, including jerseys, sideline gear, polos, t-shirts, hats, and more. With an awesome selection of over 4,100 products, including official team merchandise from Nike, when it comes to Tigers pride, there's only one place real Tigers fans go, lsushop.net.
This segment of Inside LSU Sports is brought to you each week by TJ Rizz, legendary Louisiana barbecue.
Once again, we're back inside the LSU Gymnastics Training Center in Baton Rouge on the LSU campus. Spring's right around the corner. Yeah. Mardi Gras is almost here, as a matter of fact. And talk about getting excited for something. We're getting excited as the Tigers have three SEC opponents coming up on the weekend. Let's back into them, Jay, just a bit. I want to end up talking about the big meet in the PMAC on Friday, but you're going to go on Sunday up to Missouri, and you're going to take on Missouri and Arkansas at the same time. A bit unprecedented, but of course we've been in unprecedented times.
Well, it's a makeup situation where we lost those two meets early in the season for COVID protocols of various types, and so this is a makeup for us, and it's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity. That's the way we choose to look at it. This is an opportunity for us to prepare ourselves for what the postseason is going to look like, and in order to do that, we need to be able to be effective 2 out of 3 days, and that's what's going to happen in the postseason. So we can't worry about it. We're walking a tightrope with some health things, so we'll make some decisions that we wouldn't make in the postseason when you're trying to win a championship. But we're gonna take advantage of this opportunity and just prepare as if it's the postseason.
We're going to look forward to that one, of course, on Sunday afternoon, but of course the big one on Friday inside the Maravich Center. The Alabama Crimson Tide come into the Maravich Center as the defending Southeastern Conference champions, and throw that aside. Anytime the Tigers and the Tide get together in just about anything, it's going to be special, and we're expecting another full house.
Well, we want it, and I know the ticket sales have been brisk. I want to make sure that we get that same kind of crowd that we had against Auburn, because it's electric in there, and it's such an advantage for us when we have that level of enthusiasm going on in the PMAC. I can't emphasize that enough. I mean, I almost want to dare our fans, to do it twice in a row, because we haven't done that. We've seen that number we saw at Auburn before, but I don't think we've seen it twice in a row. And I think that would be something special, a little feather in the program's cap to be able to do that twice in a row and get that done.
Tiger fans, you heard it from the head coach right there. I think he just challenged you, but LSUTix.net is the place to go to grab what tickets remain. There are a few left, but you're going to want to grab them as the week goes on. They're going to get more and more rare, as they say. And Jay, I know that you're looking forward to managing the lineups. You're looking forward to setting the table for the postseason, and we're excited to be right there along with you. More to come inside LSU Sports right after this quick timeout.
We're Dudley DeBosier. As an official partner of LSU Athletics, we love being back here on campus.
It's where we began our journey as lawyers.
And it keeps us connected to the community we pledged to serve.
This place has made a difference in so many lives across the state.
And it inspires us to do the same.
We're a law firm that cares about this community.
And that's the Dudley DeBosier difference.
Demand Dudley DeBosier, official partner of LSU Athletics. 444-4444.
You need more layers, diagonal layers.
I got it, Ron. Thanks.
Leave him alone, Dad. Oh, honey, you should use ice blocks instead of cubes.
No, Bud Light Seltzer goes on top.
Diagonal layers.
Did you pre-chill the Bud Light lemonades?
Need more ice.
And diagonal layers.
I mean, if you're gonna do it right.
I don't need my hands getting cold.
Why don't you try using the Plumsky method?
Brings out the citrus notes.
Dad?
Gotta crush the ice, son.
Okay, I'm out.
What's his problem?
Whenever packing the cooler really matters, there's a Bud Light there.
Mommy, guess what? We win.
Hi, that's fake, mi amor. Ice cream?
Yeah.
Okay.
Protect your connected devices with advanced security included with Cox Panoramic Wi-Fi.
As humankind faces its most critical challenges yet, the world demands leaders, and LSU is taking up the charge. The research we do here goes everywhere to protect communities threatened by climate change, so you can live your life with fewer worries about tomorrow. We're formulating a better way for everyone, because at LSU, our calling is humanity.
When you support, she soars. When you donate, he delivers. When you provide, they prevail.
Since 1987, TAF members have lifted the minds, bodies, and spirits of LSU student athletes, making sure they have what they need to succeed in competition, the classroom, and in life. When you give, they go.
This segment of Inside LSU Sports is brought to you each week by Our Lady of the Lake Children's Health, one of Louisiana's largest pediatric healthcare networks.
2022 college softball season. We come your way from Baton Rouge, where the LSU Tigers from the Southeastern Conference meet the South Alabama Jaguars. It is hit deep. It is way back. You can fuck around and kiss that baby goodbye. Georgia Clark starts off. He beats that play with some speed, and strikeout number 4 for Sunzeri, the shot out at second, out at first. Peterson, Pleasant, Clark, turn it over to run. Runner coming around third, save it. And the Tigers win it. That was enough for LSU.
I got a call yesterday from a good friend, Paul Maneri, and he reminded me that opening day is more nerve-wracking than the final game to go to the College World Series. And you just don't know what you're going to get out of your group. And I think I'm reminded of that today. As obviously it didn't start the way we wanted it to start, but throughout most of the weekend we were on the field with 5 sophomores and 2 freshmen. So I think they're going to continue to grow as the season goes on. I think we're going to see a lot of good things for them. And, you know, although it was a chunk of games this weekend, we still have a whole lot more to go, 50-plus games in this season for us. You know, our sport is really tough and fortunate when you think about the number of games that we play. So a lot of room to keep growing and a huge opportunity for us to grow this weekend. Headed to Clearwater to play several ranked teams. I think a couple in the top 10 with Oklahoma State, Washington, Michigan is a top 25 team as well. So a lot of really solid opponents. So we have an opportunity to do some things right here off the bat. I think the teams we played last weekend, 4-2 against a really quality field. I think with the arms that we were shown this weekend, I mean, the Central Arkansas pitcher throwing 68-69 against us here in February. I think those teams are going to end up in a good spot at the end of the year. I'm hopeful, you know, that we'll look back on it and realize that we played some strong competition right off the bat here at Tiger Park in opening weekend.
With Beth Torina's squad sitting at 4-2 out the gates, it's first-year head coach Jay Johnson and the LSU baseball team on deck. Opening day is set for Friday, February 18th against Maine, and the first pitch will be thrown by former LSU baseball head coach and College World Series champion Paul Maneri. That's it for this week's show, but we'll be right back here next week to bring you all the latest on LSU athletics. I'm Emily Dixon, and as always, thanks for watching Inside LSU Sports, presented by Community Coffee. We'll see you next week.
Inside LSU Sports, presented by Community Coffee, is brought to you each week by the 8 partners that represent Team LSU. Cox, the official communications provider of LSU Athletics. McDonald's, official sponsor of the LSU Tigers. Our Lady of the Lake, official healthcare provider of LSU Athletics. Planet Fitness, official gym partner of the LSU Tigers. Rouse's Markets, official supermarket of LSU Athletics. Hancock Whitney, the official bank of the LSU Tigers. People's Health, the official health plan of LSU Athletics. And by Coca-Cola, official beverage partner of the LSU Tigers.